here we are once again at Gebhards on the Upper West Side in New York City. It's me, it's Vic Henley, and it's my new friend. You've known him for a while, but your neighbor Judd Jones.
Judd Jones,
yes, sir. Thank
from Houston,
you.
from
Glad
Victoria, Texas.
Victoria, Texas, originally. Right. That's right.
And
we're waiting for Sherrod. Judd and I were talking about this Friday, a week or so ago, about we really like how Sherrod says the N-word as good as anyone.
He says the N-word better than anybody I've ever heard in my life. It's so effective.
In different tones and
the
inflections.
Timing, the inflection. He's got a deep voice. It's just perfect.
The first one was when we were at La Cubana, one of Carl's tribute wake parties.
Yes, one of 12 we did.
And Freddie...
Yes.
The money guy, the man behind all the restaurants, was, he was up there making weird, inappropriate, not being funny at all. And I can say this because he doesn't listen. And but way in the back.
It's getting awkward when he was talking.
It's getting awkward. He's up there. It's like at the funeral thing where somebody stays up there a little too long.
But I thought he was funny when his opening line was, I just want to let everyone know I didn't kill him.
No,
that was a great opening
opened
line.
hard. No.
Right.
But then, like everybody, he rolled on about 9 minutes in. It's like, you should have got off 2 minutes ago. You opened it with your best one.
Right.
True.
Yeah, he says something else about Sherrod because he's drunk. I mean, when he's up there, Freddie's drunk when he's doing that up there.
And really sweet. No, he was giving a pretty good.
Well
he just went too long.
He went too hard. That's what it was. and he's talking and he's like, these idiots. Carl introduced me to these idiots. And he starts naming you guys.
Vic Henley, Greg Hughes, Sherrod Small.
And then he says something about Sherrod, and then he says something about like all the free food Sherrod would come get or something. And then he says, but I don't even think Sherrod's here. And look,
with perfect comedy timing.
Perfect comedy timing.
Not being racist, but
not being racist. Sherrod's in the back. It's totally signed. And Freddie goes, but I don't even know if Sherrod's here anymore. And Sherrod in the back goes, I'm still here, nigga. I mean, just perfect. Perfect delivery, perfect timing. It couldn't be any better.
I did capture that on.
I think you got it. I
captured it.
Tank rolled in last Friday.
Oh, Tank!
Tank Jackson
from
Holy City Hop.
Right.
Rocco DeSpirito, I don't think is no longer at the Standard hotel that has a restaurant.
Yeah.
Because Tank and Carl walked through the main dining room with half a hog on their shoulders.
Right. Yeah.
Tank is the only vendor that, even though Rocco's not there anymore, the hotel still uses him to get all their sausage.
Oh, no kidding.
So he drove up 1,100 pounds of sausage on Friday night.
For the Standard.
For the Standard.
Now, can I stop you for a second? Because when you said that Rocco DeSpirito is no longer with the Standard.
I don't think he is.
The Standard?
Well, that's what Tank said.
Yeah, Tank said it.
No, I thought the reason he wasn't there, and I thought you were explaining, was because they walked the dead hog.
Well, no.
through the lobby of that gorgeous hotel, and someone...
Well, there might have been some complaints.
But they walked up to the front. Because Tank showed up with the hog at La Cubana, and then Carl goes, we got to do this. So Carl goes to the podium.
Yeah.
And he's sitting there. Each of them have half a hog, shrink wrapped, vacuum sealed. Right. And he's like, "Where's Rocco?" And the 23-year-old Wilhelmina model sitting there is like, "What's going on? Who are these two idiots?" And Tank looks like somebody from the cover of Ozark Mountain Daredevil.
Duck Dynasty.
Men from Earth.
Yeah.
My favorite. Look at Google Men from Earth Ozark Mountain Daredevils. Which is
the Ozark Mountain.
If you want to get to heaven, you got to raise a little hell.
Raise a little hell.
Jackie Blue.
Jackie Blue is my favorite song.
Jackie Blue.
But then the chicken train.
Oh, running all day, chicken train, running chickens away. And they're playing like the Jews harp, and they're clucking.
Right.
They're just playing with utensils and making it work though, man.
Chicken train, running chickens away.
Ozark Mountain Daredevils.
Oh man,
they have 3 or 4 really good songs, and I would assume Vic you probably know even more.
I have two, but Men from Earth. It's my favorite, but way before Duck Dynasty. If you look at these, they've found the greatest hillbilly, overall wearing dirt poor country Arkansas fellas sitting there looking like they've just tied the horse to the plow. And this is what Tank and Carl look like walking in the Standard
with half a pig.
Where's Rocco?
Yeah.
Just dragging the pig through the lobby. Did he give you a taste of something?
Oh God, jalapeno cheddar. No, there was an andouille. There was the what was the other one?
What do you mean jalapeno?
Jalapeno cheddar sausage.
Wow.
He blended. Yes.
That sounds
What was that? Not
awesome.
chorizo.
Chorizo,
Was it
no,
chorizo.
chorizo,
Yeah.
kick your butt chorizo,
Right.
because it's a little spicy. But I think it's kick your butt or fire in your butt chorizo is what that one's called. But then the
nice.
jalapeno cheddar, maple sage.
Maple sage.
I posted it on my Instagram because he's frying sausage in the morning, and he's like, "Hello, America. What's cooking in your iron skillet?" I got maple sage sausage. This is some Wadmalaw goodness, because that's where the pigs are from, Wadmalaw Island.
Okay.
Oh, all right.
Yeah,
Okay,
Wadmalaww, Wadmalaw.
Is that Spanish, Spain?
It's
Is that
those old
Spain?
pigs.
Are they really those pigs?
They are.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm sure.
And he's the only one that can farm them.
You have to get a permit. Other people can.
Yeah.
But you can. He's one of them.
And what is it? An island that just has hogs running wild?
It was the Sea Islands off down there by Georgia. So
Yeah.
it's like Jekyll Island and the other one's Sea Island, Georgia,
Yeah.
Jekyll Island. But there's a few. I mean, one of them just had a bunch of hogs on it.
Yeah.
And forever they would go over there. And they're the big hairy ones with spots on them.
The Fry Festival had the wild pigs. Did you see that documentary?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then
they lived there.
They have the wild pigs.
Right.
Yeah, they live there. You're right. But they have the wild pigs on this island in the Caribbean. It's that documentary's great. But then they had the supermodels down there trying to really pump up the Fry Festival, and they wanted these supermodels to play with the pigs, and the pigs were just biting the shit.
Yeah.
Of course.
They're fucking hungry. They're island pigs.
And they want to eat the models, which have no meat on them.
Sure, right.
At all.
They ain't gonna get any.
Ain't
meat
no
on
meat.
those bones.
No.
They're going to get Marlboro Lights and Diet Cokes.
I'm a big fan of islands that just have like one animal just completely taking over the damn thing.
Okay. Unless
I
it's
like
rats,
that.
of course.
Huh?
Unless it's rats, of course.
No, well, there's a couple islands that
Iguana, maybe?
have. Iguana Island is one of those in the Caribbean.
Cozumel has. They have all they have is the.
Yeah. But then
iguanas or
there's a couple islands that are just infested with like cats. Like just wild cats, and people go over there. I'm trying to remember
Really?
what island. Yes.
Like feral cats.
Yes, it's another tourist trap where you take a little boat over there and it's nothing but cats.
Well, the roosters run rampant in Key West.
I was going to say it's a Hemingway thing.
Yeah,
right?
that's a Hemingway thing. I
right.
believe that there's.
What do you mean?
It's a
Rooster, chickens.
four-toed cats.
Or something. Oh, that too.
Yeah, four-toed
Ooh.
cats are in Key West. It's like a Hemingway thing at his property or something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
I was in Key West once. I didn't like it.
Nah.
I didn't like it.
Nah.
What is it you didn't like about it?
He's not gay. Not that I know. Joking. Just joking. Total joking. He doesn't wear capri
No, you're
pants.
not joking. I'm not gay.
Oh, so, okay.
Hey.
All right, sorry.
Spun that shit.
No, I'm saying I was.
I know. I'm just.
I was doing a really bad
I
job.
drove from New York all the way down to Key West because I had time to kill in between gigs. I started by going to my sister's house, and then I was invited to the NHL All-Star Game, so that brought me. I think it was at Fort Lauderdale that year, and then from there I'm like, you know what? I've never been to Miami, so then I hung out in Miami for a day or two, and then I'm like, you know what the fuck? Might as well go all the way down to Key West. I like to ride down to Key West, and I stopped at a killer sushi joint on the side of the road that was as good as any sushi you could get in New York City. But then Key West, I think what I didn't like about it is they don't really have any beaches to just chill out.
The different Key Marathon, Key Largo, but you're right. It is kind of. It's not as much as you would think.
No, I would assume
Yeah,
Key West would have
all the way,
gorgeous
right,
beaches,
absolutely.
and I rented bikes and stuff, and I couldn't find a lousy patch of sand that I could just hang out on. And then I was at this hotel, and I decided just to stay there because I had no one to go home to. So I'm like, I could either be in New York in the winter.
Let's revisit that. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry,
I could either spend a cold winter in New York, or I could just hang out down there in a hotel because I had money back then to just burn. So I was just poolside reading books. But the security guards would come by. They thought I was a vagrant because I looked like shit. And I finally had it and marched and talked to a manager to tell them to leave
him
me
alone.
the fuck alone. I'm going to be here for another week. I'm going to be
Just leave him
poolside
alone,
with my
right.
stupid long hair and my wild beard, and I'm just going to read books. Which I did.
It was the sadness tour.
That's the first time.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
I didn't know about the spiny lobster. I'm a diver.
Oh, yeah.
That was my only good Key West thing because I was like you. I did agree with. I wasn't really happy with the beachiness, and I'm roaming around. But I met this dude, and he knew. I told him I was a diver, and so we went lobstering.
Oh, nice.
And they don't have claws. You only get the
right.
tail. It's the spiny lobster.
Yeah.
I didn't know this. So
Okay.
he's got his little ruler thing out, and we dive off the boat, and we're rolling around, and you pull them up, and if it's length, 3 hours later, if it's the right length, we're lobster and butter, baby.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
But I did not know. My hillbilly ass.
But
did
what a
not know.
waste that it doesn't have claws.
Yeah, really.
How can you be a lobster without claws? What's wrong with you?
It's a Florida situation. It's a white trash.
Well, yeah, but how does that happen with evolution?
It's
Inbred.
It's a
down there.
Langostino.
Yeah, right.
Or maybe the lobsters got smart and said, "Fuck that." That's why they're grabbing us.
That's why they're going for it.
It's time to evolve.
Break off your claws, Earl.
Right.
It's time to evolve quickly because these motherfuckers don't play.
They like these claws.
But it was.
Well, the Caribbean lobster stinks, though. Just to finish up the lobster talk.
What do you know about the crab claws? With the fried crab claws, like a hillbilly thing in the South?
No.
Because Kathleen and Madigan and I were talking about this in New Orleans, and I think they're the little tiny blue crab. They fry the claws, but it's only in like Alabama and Mississippi. Do you know about this?
I just generally frying blue crab, but I don't know.
But it's just the claws. It's just
Okay.
and it has the cartilage in there. So they chop the claw off and deep fry it, and anything deep fried goodness.
Of course.
And then you just pinch the bottom and pull it off.
Okay,
Nice.
I got
And then
you.
the cartilage stays on there, but but Kathleen and I were talking about this because we were looking for them in New Orleans, and they were looking at us like we didn't know what we were talking about. And I'm like, this might just be an Alabama, Mississippi thing.
It might be, huh?
Crabs are just too much work.
A lot
They're
of work
ticks
for
of
little
the
results.
ocean.
Yeah, yeah.
And crabs are so overrated too, man. I was never a fan.
You don't like the
never
West Indian
a fan.
salad?
No.
You don't like the West Indian salad?
I don't.
You don't know the West
crabs.
Indian?
Crabs taste a
It's
little
like
too.
a lemon juice.
Too.
It's a simple fresh crab meat, lemon juice, dill,
All right.
maybe a little mayo. It's like 4 ingredients.
I got you.
Crabs taste a
My
little.
brother, it's my oldest brother's favorite
That's his thing.
crab thing.
Yeah, it's a lot of work for little result on the
Yeah,
crabs.
and
you
they
know.
kind of.
That's true on the
They
Baltimore,
kind of
especially.
taste a little bit like low tide too.
Right.
A little bit.
Okay.
Lobsters
I got
don't.
it.
Lobsters don't.
Yeah.
But I hate those people. You go out to dinner with them and you order the lobster, and they take out the surgeon tools to get every little morsel and those tiny little.
The good part's behind the ear.
Oh, is it? Break it open.
And it's like, that looks like
Right.
green baby diaper poop.
Yeah.
No, it's umami. Okay, umami. Unami, whatever the fuck.
Specialty in China. They love it.
That's right. Urchin.
Right.
And I think lobster in general is overrated. I really do. Without that butter, it's useless.
Well, anything in butter.
Well, of course.
My penis in butter is delicious.
It's going to be delicious.
It's absolutely fabulous.
Fabulous. But you get tricked when you go on vacation and you're in the Caribbean and you order that Caribbean lobster, and then you're like, oh, that's right.
Yeah.
It's a major step down.
Right.
Anyway,
I do like the seafood tower, though. I will when I'm
huge fan.
If
Sure.
you're gonna go
Huge fan.
to any of the high-end state when
Oh,
they
yeah.
bring out the
Yeah.
tower,
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I really do like.
I'm in on all of it, for
My
sure.
buddy Norton brought this up to me. Norton brought this up to me a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
When they were, Norton's mom would go on 3 church field trips a year. So when we were 15, Norton's dad would let us take the car out and go on a date,
Right.
even though we were 15. And my mom, it took my mom, we were 2 dates in before she went, wait a minute, isn't his birthday in March? So one of the classic, this place opened, and I didn't go, but Norton, we laughed about this for years. So Norton and our other friend, they double dating, and our other friend, he's upgraded. Norton's in the 9th grade.
Yeah.
He's on a date with a 9th grader.
Mm-hmm.
Our other friend's in the 9th grade. He's on a date with an 11th grader.
Whoa.
Nice.
Brenda McWhorter. I still see her once a year at Auburn games. She's wonderful. And so
She's wonderful.
No, well, she's the whole
That
family's
means
good.
he's about to say
No,
something.
no, no,
Right,
no,
yeah,
no.
yeah.
No, I'm not gonna say anything. I'm not gonna actually no.
The wheels are about to fall off here.
No, but
If you start with she's wonderful.
no, she's just great. No, they're all good people. So anyway, so Broadfoot orders shrimp cocktail, and Norton orders shrimp cocktail, and Broadfoot gets really excited because he thinks it's a drink.
Oh, wow.
So Norton goes,
cocktail.
3 shrimp cocktails, water. Waitress walks away. Broadfoot just can't believe Broadfoot starts nudging Norton. He's like, they're bringing it to you. They're bringing it to you. And Norton goes, well, yeah, it's fucking shrimp cocktail. What do you mean? He goes, it's got liquor in it. He goes, no, it's not. You fucking idiot. It's a seafood appetizer.
What a redneck.
We're from Alabama.
I
He
understand.
really, 15-year-old David Broadfoot thought shrimp cocktail. I can't believe they're bringing it. It's got liquor in it.
Can you put mine in a blender?
The one thing I splurged when I finally got money in my life, the one thing I splurged on was the size of the shrimp.
Oh,
There
yeah.
you go.
Oh,
There
when
go.
you get those tiny
No.
ones, the
Right.
all-you-could-eat shrimp places.
Yeah. Well, those are the ones that are raised outside the sewage tank in Japan. Carl told us.
Right.
And China.
Right.
They farm them by the poopy tank.
Well, same thing
No,
with
no,
like,
the shrimp just like that.
Yes.
The water because it's a little warmer,
Warmer,
and there's a
right.
lot of feces in there
Yeah.
that they enjoy eating.
well, isn't that the same thing with tilapia that's over there too?
That
It's
is
the
true.
same
I
kind
think,
of thing.
yes,
Yeah.
Tilapia?
absolutely,
Yeah, it's just like
It
big-
is. It's supposed to not be a
Just big fucking
Well,
poo
catfish.
ponds.
Catfish too.
Well,
It's a
yeah,
you
but
know.
that now you're talking at a school. I mean, that's more my kind of thing. You know, catfish, I'll fry it up. It doesn't matter what it's eating.
What's
I'll
the old
do it.
Auburn, Alabama joke? The old college football joke. What's the difference? What's the difference between the Alabama homecoming queen and a catfish? Oh. And the answer is one of them's a dirty, sucking, bottom feeding dweller, and the other one's a fish.
Fish.
Right. Jesus. all this seafood talk reminds me. Actually, I was in college and I was coming home for the holiday. So it was around this time a million years ago, and I was really into this girl, and I had no money, but I saved my money to take her to a Red Lobster.
Oh, you went big.
Ooh.
And
Okay.
she lived somewhere in Syracuse. So that what my deal was, well, on the
This
way,
was before endless shrimp.
That's
That's big money, dude. That's big money right there, boy.
No, it's big money, right?
Yeah, right.
Big
That's
money.
impressive. That's impressive. Yeah.
So my plan was I will drive you to Syracuse on the way home to Long Island, and then we'll stop and we'll get a nice Red Lobster meal. And then I'm thinking maybe we'll have sex in my car. That's exactly what I was thinking.
Sure.
Because I didn't have enough money for a hotel. But I'm not just I'm not just a nice guy bringing
you're
you to Red
planning it.
Lobster.
You're planning it.
I'm
Right.
thinking, I'm going to smooth her over with a
Chivalrous.
nice Red Lobster meal, and then
Right.
maybe we'll have sex in a car, and then I'll drop her off at her family house for Christmas, and then I'll go to Long Island. So
That's good. That's white trash fabulous.
That is a good plan.
So I
That's a good plan.
saved my money. I didn't have much, and I splurged, and we had a full meal, and it was lovely. But then she excused herself, went to the bathroom, and by the time she came back for dessert, she had a lot of tears in her eyes. And I quickly realized that she just threw up my dinner that I gave her. Oh. She was anorexic or bulimic.
Oh no!
Yes.
Oh my God!
So she went in the bathroom. I mean, she was a little...
and heaved up your generous
Yeah,
dinner.
but see, I was just a stupid, naive kid from Long Island, so I didn't know much.
Damn.
I had to learn after the fact. I didn't know. She was a little on the thin side to
Still.
begin with.
No.
But she came back from the bathroom. I'm like, what's wrong? She goes, oh, nothing's wrong. And I'm like, that's weird because, I'm thinking to myself, your eyes look like you just were
watery.
bawling in the bathroom. But it turned out, because it came out later after we got back to college, that she had a major eating issues or whatever. So she went in the bathroom, and I saved up that money because I was hoping to have
I got
sex.
$17.95.
I was hoping to have sex in
damn,
the
or whatever,
car,
yeah.
$35 at least.
in the back of my Honda
Jesus.
Accord.
Yeah. The kids, Nikki's kids, my girls' kids, they love it that Crazy Norton that I was just talking about, that he would only call it the crabster. And we always walked the check. We stole the check. We dined and dashed every single time because Norton found out early on when we were in high school that they didn't penalize the staffs. In other restaurants, if your person walked the check, they might charge you.
Oh, that's so
But the crabster,
bad.
if you left a tip, so we would 4, 5, 6 all the way. I did this till I was 23 years old.
Oh my God. You gotta do what you gotta.
My first year of comedy.
I get it.
I made under $3,500.
I understand.
And we dined and dashed. When we were having a big night, we go to the crabster.
Yeah.
Because we knew that the employee didn't suffer. And so Nikki's kids, the twins who are 11, they love going to the crabster. But for 3 years, since they were 8, they're like, let's walk on the check. And I'm like, I've told them this story, and they're like, we need to walk the check. I'm like, we're not walking the check.
How bad do you want to
This
walk
was
the check?
40.
though?
It was easy.
No,
And
but you wanted to.
well, and the best part is you stop because the bathroom's usually by the front. So our key, Norton's key was, and they had little lollipops and dum-dums. So Norton would stop at the register, get a dum-dum, and go, enjoyed it.
Act like you're doing
Act
right.
like you did it, and then
That's
walk right out the goddamn door.
Yep.
How many times you guys do that?
Oh, hundreds.
Good for you.
My best one was in New Orleans.
I love getting around the system. Even to this day.
In 1983, at the Sugar Bowl in New Orleans, I walked 18 people.
Nice.
We were 6 cars. We were at the Sugar Bowl, and I'm sitting there. I go, I got it.
Right.
And only like 2 or 3 of us knew that we did this trick. So me and Norton and everybody else just thinks I'm buying.
Yeah.
So they just get up and walk out. We get back to the hotel later, and they're like, "How much was that, dude?" And I'm like, "Nothing."
Oh my God.
Don't worry, I talked to the
$7.
manager. It's all right. Yeah, we're okay.
Aren't you worried that they're gonna like spot you, later that weekend or whatever?
Well, the best part, it all started now. If you really want to get deep on this, this is Shoney's Frisch's Big Boy. Shoney's Big Boy.
Oh.
So they had the late night buffet. And one night we were in there when I was in college, and there's 6 or 8 of us. And my buddy eats one of the little blueberry mini muffins off my plate, and the waitress charges us for another meal. And we decided at that moment we were going to steal from you for the rest of our lives, no matter how much. And they really charged us for another buffet. And she's like, I saw him eat off your plate. I'm like, I had 4 muffins. He took literally one of the blueberry muffins. You fucking dick.
Yeah.
All right, so.
That's all you needed.
So that was in my hometown.
I get it.
So we.
Right, yeah.
No.
Yeah.
So
I always
there's,
look for the excuse.
Just give me one reason.
there's 2
One
other good
reason.
stories. There's another
You're going
good.
to charge me for a plate?
Yes.
Well, for the next
Just
10
had a
years,
muffin.
I'm
$4.99.
gonna rip you off.
Right.
Yeah.
We saved the receipts and made a collage out of it. He was an art major. The dude that got charged, he's my roommate, David Brawford. He was an art major. He literally took a piece of poster board and we made a collage of all the receipts where we fucked them for the next year and a half, and we sent it to corporate headquarters.
That's awesome.
Oh, nice.
Well, he's an artist. Did he take the receipts and do a deca?
Yes. No, he did a whole yes.
A decoupage?
Oh, no, yes, it was all it was full on
with a little
sweet.
lacquer?
The
Yeah,
whole
look at this.
No, he
Look at this
really
coffee
did.
table.
No,
This
he
is awesome.
literally he worked on this for a year, and then we had this before Google or anything. We had to look up where their headquarters was. Now the other good story. Sorry, I'm rambling. But
No, you're not. I love this.
the other good story about when this was going on, I had an uncle named Don Henley.
Oh, right. You told me about Don
And he was the
Henley.
minister.
Yes.
He was a minister, but he got caught cheating.
Yeah.
And I didn't know he got cheating.
Well, they all get caught cheating.
But he's in the same Shoney's where we're running this game. We're about 6 months into the game. We come home from college. He's there at 2:30 in the morning. We're all hammered. He's running the buffet. And he's wearing the shit brown polyester uniform with the paper hat. And he immediately goes, I ain't seen him. Last time I saw him, he was marrying his daughter.
Oh.
I was best man. I was in the party.
Right.
I wasn't best man. But so last time I saw him was dearly beloved. We're gathered here today. Next time I saw him was 9 months later. You want biscuits?
Really? That's a hell. I thought I had a fall from grace.
No.
Oh my God.
Gravy's extra if you get another cup. So
Wow.
he escorts
Went
us.
from God's
He totally did.
child
He
to
was fucking like, I just thought it was one. I was 2 years into comedy, and my cousin, his son, came to a show and went, you remember when he stopped preaching for a while? And I'm like, because your mom caught him cheating. She's like, not with, I thought it was just one. No, he was Richard Pryor, black preacher. And
Oh, wow.
Hey.
he had like 14 of them.
Wow.
So now he's in the Shoney's. And we go rolling in there, and he escorts us to the back of the table, and he's kind of just going, "Don't, I'll tell you later. I'll tell you later." Everything's all.
It's a story. I'll tell you later. Yeah.
Please don't say anything.
Yes, don't right.
I need this job. please, just order. Make believe you don't know me and get the fuck out
That's
of here.
right. Yeah.
And my friends are going, "Isn't that your uncle?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Isn't he a preacher?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I thought.
Wow. That's awesome.
And we still walked the check that night, by the way.
You did.
I still walked the check that night.
I got to explain. I like getting one over on the system when I feel like they've done me wrong. So we have a supermarket in this neighborhood. I can't tell you how much food we have brought into our apartment over the years that is spoiled with expiration dates that are wrong, and they give you a problem. Where's your receipt? I'm like, it's obvious I got it here.
Right.
You know, the name of your supermarket is on the damn thing. Isn't that good enough? And they're just the pains in the asses.
What's the name of the supermarket?
I don't want to say, to be honest with you, because I still got to shop there, you know. And when I became a father, and I would bring my son around in the stroller, and when I'm checking out, he just like grabs things and puts it in the stroller, and it got to a point we'd get back to the apartment, and I'm like, oh my God, free candy bars. And my wife would, she
Certainly.
would
No,
freak
she's a
out
good-
like, we
yes.
we gotta
She's a
bring
good
it
person.
back.
Yeah,
and I'm
she's
like,
a
we're
good
not
person.
bringing it back. And then I have to remind her of all the shitty things.
Remember when the fucking mushrooms had hair on them?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Never mind that you were telling him, get the Snickers. Grab that one. Yeah.
Oh, he would just grab. And then the cashier would be like, oh, my God, he's so adorable.
Oh,
I'm like,
so
yeah.
cute.
Speaking of my supermarket, I was reminded that I did a video there a few years back. I established, obviously, they have really bad customer service and they got bad food at times with expiration dates that are way over and spoiled food, blah, blah, blah. So I was in the supermarket a couple years back and this lady was trying to return $9 worth of sweet potatoes and she made everybody uncomfortable. The cashiers are trying to ignore her and continue working as she's yelling and screaming at the manager. The video is great. There's a link to the video in the description of this episode, but I think the audio plays very well also. And as much as I dislike my supermarket, I think I dislike this lady more. Check it out.
Are you kidding me? I have been coming here probably 3 or 4 times every single day for 8 years, and you won't exchange something for me that's crap? You have a sign outside that says you're the friendliest grocery store in the neighborhood. What's my name? What's my name? I've been coming here for 8 years on a daily basis. What's my name? What is my name? You don't know. Because you're not friendly at all. You're the most unfriendliest grocery store in the entire neighborhood. Because you want to exchange $9? I spent $50,000 here at the very least. I don't have a receipt. Are you seriously going to accuse me of stealing sweet potatoes when I've been shopping here for 8 years? I don't have a receipt. My husband bought them. I don't have the receipt.
Opie Radio.
But we're here at Gebhards. It looks like he's not showing this show.
Obviously, yes. Black man's late ain't coming.
Yeah. My thought was, it's pretty much the last episode of the year, and I wanted to finish strong with me, you, and Sherrod. The nucleus as far as Carl goes. I thought it would
Certainly.
be a great way to end the year.
I agree. He did confirm.
Yeah, he did confirm, and I thought it would be just a nice way to go out as far as 2019 goes. But I'm not complaining because Judd Jones is
Whatever
here.
there.
Vic Henley's,
Just say the N-word like Sherrod. Just say the N-word.
I mean, I said it once and I felt weird. I can't do it
Say the
again.
N-word like
I can't do it
Sherrod.
again. People are starting to stare over
Just
here.
say, nigga, I'm still here.
Yeah, right.
Vic Henley's neighbor, and he's a comedian himself, and he certainly has held
Tell the Willie
held his
Nelson
own.
story.
You got some Willie Nelson stories?
Oh, tell him though. He's got 2. One of them's corny.
Yeah, the corny one is when I was in college at A&M, we
Texas A&M.
Texas A&M
Aggies. College Station.
Aggies.
Aggies, that's
12th
right.
man.
That's right.
Saw those horns, baby.
Nice.
There was a dance hall right outside of town called the Texas Hall of Fame, right? And they would have concerts there.
200-seater or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, right. Well, they would just everyone standing and dancing because they'd leave the dance floor open and you'd sit on the back and all that. So they'd have different bands come in all the time. Well, I've been going to Willie concerts since I was in high school. I mean, and I got to a point where I would always bring him a Shiner Bock on stage just to do it, and he would give me his bandana.
Really?
Right. So that was the move. If I was with a chick, I'd be
Sherrod's
like,
calling us right now, by the way. Go ahead, though. Go ahead. No. He's calling me right now.
Oh, my God.
He's calling me right now.
Yeah, continue, Judd.
no, but anyway,
Go ahead,
so,
Joe. It's a good story.
Yeah.
So I go to this concert with some friends, and Willie's performing, and I kind of know who some of the people are that are in his crew
He
and
had
all
the
this.
big guy that was, what's his name?
His name was Putty, Poodie. He was his road manager guy. This guy was like 6'2", had a liver gut. You know what I mean? Like he was skinny fat. And had a ponytail down to his ass. His name was Putty. Well, everything went through Putty, and I remember seeing him before. So, and I'd seen him in Austin before, yeah. So Putty was the guy to talk to, and he was like the menacing guy standing there. And so I'm in college. I'm like a sophomore. And I went up to him, and it's that same thing we said a minute ago. It's like, just act like you know what you're doing. This is like before security got crazy. You could kind of talk your way into stuff, or just kind of, keep walking backstage or whatever. Well, I see Putty, and I go up to him and say, hey, Putty, good to see you, like that. So he thinks maybe we met before. And I was like, man, is there any chance I can say hi to Willie or whatever if he's done, because it was after the show. The bus is right behind the venue,
The
right?
infamous.
Oh,
right,
yeah.
the
Willie
bus,
tour
right?
bus.
The bus. And so, and then he says, well, Willie's, he's just winding down from the show. And I was like, oh, okay. So I just kind of hung out for a little while, hoping something, and then put emotions to me. He's like, come on, like that. And I'm like, oh shit, my friends are like in the front and I'm by myself. So I go, and the bus opens up, and it's like, I didn't see smoke, but I smelt it,
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it's like
everything
you
you
walk
would
in,
think.
Oh, yeah.
you walk in, and I'd seen pictures of the inside of the bus before, and so I walk in, and Putty leads me in, and I walk up there, and I'm like, oh shit, this is it, and so it's Willie sitting there in his spot, and his sister Bobby is sitting over on the side, and there's other people I don't know, and I'm like, holy shit, and I'm just like the odd man out there. And Putty says, Willie, this is a guy he said he's met you before and wanted to come say hello. And Willie is sitting there at his little table, and he's got a pizza tray filled with shake, right?
Literally,
he's rolling
the old,
joints.
New York
Like
City,
a
the
pizza
big
tray.
metal,
Wow.
And he's sitting there.
18-inch circumference.
Right.
Oh, wow.
And I'm just like, holy shit. And so Putty says, yeah, there's a guy who says he's met you before, and he just wanted to say hello. And I'm kind of like, hey, Willie, like
Radius.
a fucking idiot over there, And Willie says, well, not just anybody, he says something like, not just anybody can come on this bus unless you know the secret password. Like that. And I'm like, oh, okay. And he goes, you want to know what the secret password is? And I said, yeah. And he says, the secret password is ear. And I was like, all right. And he takes that joint, and he's like, and he passes it to him, and he goes, ear. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Literally 1971 Cheech and Chong pot joke.
Yeah, ear. I was like,
40-year-old
great.
pot joke.
Get away with that.
I was like, amazing.
Because you're Willie.
Yeah, and I'm just like shaking as I toke. Yeah. Oh my God, This is
That's a great
amazing.
story.
Amazing.
Back at WNEW, we interviewed Willie Nelson. The same thing. The bus pulls up, and he just takes over 56th Street in the middle of Midtown Manhattan with his
Yeah.
bus, and no one's gonna tell Willie Nelson he can't park there, right?
Right.
And he comes up, he's high as shit. The one thing I remember when we interviewed Willie Nelson was we got to check out his guitar. You ever see his guitar?
I've seen it
Oh,
up
it
close.
looks like it's been beat to
Yeah.
death.
Lucille.
Yeah.
We
There's
didn't know
a
what he was called. Not
giant-
Lucille. That's
Lucille's B.B. King.
Trigger.
Yeah.
That's what he calls
There's
it.
Lucille's B.B. King.
That's right. That's
He,
right.
he has
Yeah.
a second giant hole in the thing in the front where it's just worn away, and he's had rock royalty sign that thing
Yep.
over the years. And I remember,
Everybody.
I can't tell you exactly which signatures, but you would see, let's say Eric Clapton smudged out,
Right.
like Eric Clapton
Right.
signed his guitar a million years ago, and you could barely like make out the CL or whatever, or
Yep.
Keith,
Yeah.
Yeah.
or Marty.
Yes, exactly. George Job.
Right.
Yeah.
But it just shows you someone like that, he don't give a fuck. He's having these guys sign the guitar, but it means nothing to him. But to us, we're into music like that. I'm looking
Yeah.
at this guitar like, oh my God, how much is this thing fucking
It's amazing.
worth,
That hole is from the pick. Hitting
had
the
a-
pick,
yes.
hitting it all those
Yeah.
I
years.
had a one hitter where I had banged the bat so hard on the outside of the wooden outside
Yeah.
that I'm on Ron White's tour
Sure.
bus about 2 years, and he goes, your one hitter has turned into Willie Nelson's guitar.
Oh, okay. So everyone knows about the guitar. And I think we asked him, and he basically said that
That's
he
awesome.
continues playing it because that hole is giving him
Yeah, it's a different sound.
a different sound or
no
more
other
echo
guitar
or
makes that
something. I don't
sound.
know.
Whiskey River, take my mind.
That's it, man.
Yeah.
It's a Bloody Mary morning.
The funny thing about Willie Nelson was that he was so clean cut back
Tommy
in the
down.
day.
Oh, with the hair, the
Oh
short.
my God!
Well, like Pryor.
Yeah.
They were both in the suit.
George
Yeah.
Carlin.
There's George Carlin.
Yep.
There's black and white footage of all of them in suits with
Short
short
hair.
haircuts and trying to play the game on Ed Sullivan.
And then what happened? Because I'm trying to remember with Willie Nelson, but he realized it was time to just go the other way with the whole thing.
Yeah, he didn't give a fuck.
I think it was like with the people that he started hanging with too.
Yeah,
like
that's got a lot of Johnny and
Waylon
Waylon.
all
Yeah,
that,
the whole
you know.
outlaw, Christopherson.
They were looking at him like he was a nerd, and Willie Nelson did that.
Well, no, fuck you. I'll show you.
Well,
and
and
Willie's
he-
like, I got to up
Yeah,
my
sure.
game.
When he was still wearing the suits, he was more of the songwriter.
Well, he had written Crazy.
Crazy,
Yeah.
and so all this, and so I think between that and then going into meeting all these other people like Waylon and David Allen Coe and one of my all-time favorite people in the whole world, Billy Joe Shaver. meeting those
Texas
people.
Upper Tennessee. Do you know Billy Joe Shaver?
I've heard the name, to be totally honest with you,
Texas
but I
Upper
don't.
Tennessee is a damn good song.
Billy Joe Shaver.
Billy Joe Shaver. Yeah,
I'll YouTube
He
it
is
after this.
my
This is a Texas
favorite.
only. He's kind of like Robert Earl King. There's certain things
Billy
that
Joe
are
Shaver
specifically.
is the most gangster of any gangster you would ever meet.
True.
And I'll tell you this, Roy. The reason I say that,
He went Christian too, though.
Yeah.
full Christian. I mean, and this was years ago he went Christian, but he is the most gangster of anybody. 10 years ago, because he's 80 something now, so is he 70 something?
Oh, this is also good.
He's
Here
in
we
a
go.
bar. He's in a bar in Waco, Texas, with his ex-wife, who he's still friendly with, having a drink, and some fellas in the bar. Some fellas in the bar
story. I know this
who starts talking trash and says something disrespectful to Billy Joe's ex-wife. And Billy Joe says something to him like, you just need to relax or whatever. Well, the guy comes over there, and he's drunk, and he's leaning on Billy Joe, and the guy takes out his pocket knife and opens it and stirs Billy Joe's drink with it, wipes it off on his shirt, and says, if you got a problem with that, I'll be outside.
Oh,
Right.
my
God. Billy Joe's 70 years old when this happens.
At this point.
At a honky-tonk bar in the
Waco,
afternoon.
Texas.
Yeah, it was outside of Waco. That's
All
right.
right.
That's right. So that was a mistake. So Billy Joe goes outside. The guy's still got the knife in his hand. Billy Joe says, where do you want it? And the guy says, what? And Billy Joe pulls out a .22 and shoots him in the face. Guy drops the knife. Guy falls to the ground. Billy Joe gets his ex-wife. They get in the car and go home.
They just go home.
Go home. That's right. 2 days later, he finds out there's a couple warrants out
They're
for his
looking
arrest.
for him.
But he had shows and stuff. He happened to be in Austin. He finds out there's warrants out for his arrest for outside of Waco. He goes into the Austin PD and says, I got to turn myself in. They're like, Billy Joe, what are you doing here? They're like not even looking for him. Like it's not in the system or
This
something.
is some Texas good
So he
shit.
goes back home after that weekend, whatever, he goes back to Waco, turns himself in, and, he bonds out, and all this or whatever. The guy lived, okay? So it was a .22, and he, hit him, whatever, but the guy lived. So a few years later, Billy Joe goes to trial. Willie shows up as a character witness. Willie shows up there. Willie's wearing all black in a suit, like this. Billy Joe's
Willie.
Billy Joe's wearing a leather sports coat with a tie in bold letters that says Texas right down the front of the tie, right? So this court case goes up. So they're trying to get him, right? So one of the things I remember, this is so great. They said, the prosecutor says, well, Billy Joe, you think you were maybe jealous because this guy was hitting on your ex-wife? And Billy Joe tells him, man, I get as many women you can fit in a passenger plane. Like, I'm not, he's 70 years old when he says this, right? Like, he's not even worried about it at all. So he gets off on that charge. It's self-defense because the guy had a knife.
Yeah.
And, in Texas, like in New York, guy pulls a knife and you have a gun and you're going to jail
That's
for
not a
years.
knife.
Right. So he's just, that's like a normal thing down there. So the guy, he gets off of that charge and he's walking outside. This was actually I think Rolling Stone reported this. He was walking outside after the case and he's won. Oh, this is the other thing. Just to back up, after he bonded out of jail that night, 3 days later, he went and did a show that night and talked about it. And everyone's like, oh,
I
my
shot a man
God.
in the
Right.
face.
Shot him in the face the other night in Waco, right? So he's talking about it, right?
That's the start of a great song.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
So anyway, he gets exonerated, charges dismissed or whatever. And outside the courtroom, he's with Willie, and all the reporters were around. And they asked him. They said, "Well, Billy Joe, do you think you and so and so, the guy who shot, do you think you guys could ever be friends again?" And Billy Joe says, "Well, I sure hope so, because I'd like to get my bullet back." Find me somebody more gangster than that.
That's gangster.
Amazing.
So he totally got off.
Totally got off. Self-defense.
Just a self-defense thing.
You pull a knife in the parking lot, and I got a .22. If you don't die, I'm going to get off of that probably. Yeah, that's
That
it.
is amazing. That's
He
a
is
great story.
Fantastic.
I know.
Billy Joe. And Billy Joe Shaver, for those who don't know,
Yeah.
essentially made, well, I shouldn't say that, but there's a good percentage of what Waylon Jennings did to be successful with Billy Joe Shaver. Honky Tonk Heroes, the album, was completely written by Billy Joe Shaver. So he was, Elvis recorded Billy Joe Shaver. Bob Dylan did.
Texas
Like,
Over
all
Tennessee is a damn good song.
I gotta check out some of his music.
Yeah.
Very, very cool.
He's just fantastic.
That's a great,
and he's
that's a
still,
great
I bring
story.
goodness to
he's
the party.
still
Yes, you
touring.
do.
I bring
He's
goodness
still
to the
touring
party.
to
Oh,
this
yeah,
day.
he's
like,
alive.
He's
He's
like
cool, yeah.
82 years old, and he wears the same thing all the time. He wears blue jeans and a denim shirt, like a long sleeve
Like
denim
Fogarty
shirt.
almost.
Right. And his belt is a leather belt, but it's one of those with the 2 rings on it that you fold it through and crank it back. It's the same thing he's worn forever. Right. Like the canvas belts, but it's leather. That's what he's got.
I had one of those.
I have 2 of those for Nantucket.
That's what he wears.
That is
I
a
have with
Nantucket
little whales
belt.
on it. I have little.
There
I have
you
little,
go.
That's
mine
a
has little
Nantucket
pink
belt.
whales on it.
Right.
Billy Joe's doesn't.
True that.
True that, right. What are you guys doing for New Year's? Anything fun?
I'm going to work the club here in town, and
That's right. You're
hang
working,
out. Should be at Comic Strip Live.
Comic Strip Live if you want to
should
see
be
Vic
really
Henley
easy.
New Year's Eve. And I said on the last episode that we did together, I'm going to be banging those pots and saying goodbye to this year.
And is it a Philly thing? Do you think they just
Yeah, it
decided
is.
to clank and make it? Because fireworks used to be also. Did you make a lot of noise on 4th of July? Was when you naturally had fireworks, but also on New Year's Eve we used to in the South. We used to my friends would tie sparklers to their bows and arrows, and then light the sparkler, and then shoot the arrow into other people's yards.
That's hardcore.
Oh, wow.
That is hardcore.
Now you want to talk.
Well, it was
That
cool to see it go flying through the air.
Yeah.
And it ain't going to catch anything on fire.
Long Island was known for their 4th of July celebrations. I'm sure that it was like this across the country before they really decided too many people are getting hurt.
Right.
But there would just be all-out wars across the street. You'd be in your yard, and they would be in their yard,
what we
and
were
it was
doing.
insane.
Like Roman candle wars.
Yeah, all that
Everything.
stuff. Yeah,
right.
holding them with your hand.
Sure.
I remember.
Keep shaking it.
You got to hold it to the side because the back side would shoot out and burn
You
you.
want to hit you. Yeah. Man, right when I moved here, I lived in Bushwick, right, in a very Latino area, and it was over 4th of July, and these folks out there are popping off fireworks over the course of 4 to 5 days. And you'd be sitting in the apartment and just hear. These are not like firecrackers. They were doing the ones that are like 2 feet in the ground, I felt like I was in Baghdad. Like it was just blowing up, and he'd be quiet watching something, and just boom, this. So I could
People shot guns where I was growing. They fire off.
Oh yeah, sure.
They fire off a double barrel in the air on New Year's Eve.
Just in the air?
Just boom, boom. Yeah, but they fire. You'd hear gunshots.
Right.
Yeah, and the greatest thing, I went up to the roof once it starts, getting crazy, kind of seeing what's what, right? So I go up to the roof, and there's cops patrolling the neighborhood, and and they would get on their on the seat or the speaker outside the car and say, "You're not allowed to pop fireworks.
Right.
You will be arrested. You will." And they're doing this looping around. And I'm looking out there. I'm like, holy shit. And this car pulls up, and this little dude jumps out, and he puts a firework on there. The cop's in front, like a block up. He puts a firework on the ground, lights it, and he goes, "Fuck you!" and lights it. Boom! Just goes off right there. They get in the car and peel off. I'm like, this is exciting. This is very good. Yeah.
Welcome to Bushwick.
Yeah, right.
I've had a whole bunch of good Christmas love. I did a little. I did a Facebook thing.
Oh, your Facebook group?
I don't do ever.
Yeah.
But it's only like 3,000 people from my hometown.
Right.
And you got to be nice.
Yeah.
If you ever say anything mean, they'll throw you out.
But that's not easy for you.
Right?
True.
Yeah.
True.
Vic joined a little Facebook group, and it's all the people you went to high school with?
Yes.
And everyone else in
just
your
from
little
my
town?
hometown, and that's it. And so the choral teacher, Judith Simmons Lay, who hated me and was going to throw me out of the choir.
Right. Why did she hate you when you were in the choir?
Because I was just mean. Me and my friends were always doing stuff, and I was always laughing too loud. And Floyd Livingston went to the pencil sharpener with his dick out. $22. We sat because it was risers. The choral room was risers. Right. So we sat in the back left-hand corner, like the nosebleeds. Literally. And we'd sit there every day. And so Floyd Livingston was a friend of mine. Mike. His name ain't Floyd. His name's Mike Livingston. So, but one day we're sitting there, and Floyd he does the old, if y'all give me $25, I'll go to the pencil sharpener with my dick out. And we all start scrambling for cash. We're all meeting $2, $5. We're all so we scare up $22.
Nice.
And so then I'm immediately going all the way out.
Right.
And he's like, no, not all the way out. I'm just going. But the pencil sharpener's on the wall, like in any high school, in any.
So he's
got
to reach up with his
and
dick out.
He goes. I'm gonna unzip. He goes. I'm gonna unzip the fly. Just pop the mushroom cap out, and I'm gonna sharpen my pencil, and I'm gonna turn around. So if you're looking, you will actually see my dick out is at the pencil sharpener for $25. And we're like, we can't get him.
We're with you, Floyd.
And he does it. And no one sees it, but like 5 or 6 of us. He stood there at the fucking pencil sharpener.
What's up, Sherrod?
What's up,
Yo! But that was the days when if you did get caught, they would send you down to the principal's office.
That's about it.
You wouldn't get kicked out of school or any of that horse shit.
Mic up.
Huh?
Here, I'll give you mine.
No,
Here,
what's up, Sherrod?
Yeah. What's going on with you?
Well, fuck, man. I wanted to do the last
like
episode of the year with me, you, and Vic.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here.
And Judd Jones,
Yes.
of course.
Yes.
Chill.
Yeah.
I got one too. Yeah.
another one? I got it.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Yes.
Yeah,
I was running around.
we're heading toward actually, New Year's. Thank God. I kind of want this year to go
This
away.
year, I'm over it. I'm fucking.
You're done?
Over it. Angelo Lozado just passed
Another
away.
one?
Yeah.
Man.
I'm
Did you
over
know
it.
him well?
Knew him well. Very
Another
well.
comic.
Yeah, another comic. He had stomach cancer.
Jesus.
He's been battling it for a few months, so
Yeah.
we knew that it was,
Right.
rough, but yeah, it's just still hard. And then Chris Cotton died a couple weeks ago. Who's
Right.
Another good friend. So yeah, enough of this.
What is up with comics dying early, man?
Comics just died, man. I tell you, comedy brought comics just died. Comedy brought more death in my life than anything else ever.
Right?
I mean, it brought me more joy in life and money, but more death.
A lot of radio guys die young too.
It's crazy.
I know a lot of radio guys that have died.
Plus, when you get into your occupation, then you become friends with guys who might be older than you. So you got a different circle of friends. So it's different life expectancies. But some of these guys were just young guys. Like Chris Cotton was in his 30s, just about to have twins.
And what did he die?
His wife is pregnant.
What did he die of?
I don't even know. I think it was like some type of respiratory thing.
What do you mean? It's some kind of respiratory
I don't know.
thing.
He always had like
some kind of asthma or something.
He always been battling stuff his whole life.
And and he was just about to have twins, and he dropped this year. Look, man, I
started with William Stevenson in January.
Right.
Jesus, man,
And
that
then-
was a year.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep, that was this year.
Well, that was
then, boom.
That was when we all went to Vic Henley's, and
That's right.
Me and Carl were there to
Yes.
console you and Vic
Yes.
over that one.
Carl
That's
was making
right.
all that food.
And,
yeah.
and little did we know that Carl wasn't going to be with us too much longer.
Yeah, you
What
never
a-
know. You
What
never
a
know.
fucking weird
2019
year.
sucked, man. Jesus.
well,
in that regard,
hold on.
Jesus.
Orange juice. They got orange juice. Oh, yeah. Yeah, little side.
Hold on, I got to plug this in.
But yeah, I was at Best Buy just now buying, I had to buy a scooter.
Hold on. All right, we're going to stop it here, guys. To be continued. Sherrod has arrived at Gebhards, and as he arrived, I realized I had to turn off the podcast equipment to plug in another mic. So at that point, we all decided to make sure we get fresh drinks and take leaks and go smoke a little bit on the sidewalk. So on the next episode of the Opie Radio podcast, it will be the last episode of the year as we continue with Sherrod Small, Vic Henley, and Vic Henley's neighbor, who's also a comedian. Eventually, I'm just going to say his name is Judd Jones. But I mentioned earlier in this episode about Cat Island. I did a little Google search, and I want to fill in some blanks. The Cat Island, it turns out there's like 3 or 4 of these, and they're off of the coast of Japan. And the one I was thinking of is Aoshima. And from their Wikipedia page, it says, known for its large number of feline residents, felines have been reported by news outlets to outnumber humans by ratios between 6-1 and 10-1. But in recent years, as elderly inhabitants of the island have died, it has skyrocketed to nearly 36-1. They were introduced to combat rodents on fishing boats, but remained on the island and reproduced in large numbers. And obviously, it's a tourist trap that a lot of people go to. And as I was refreshing my memory on Cat Island, I came upon what could only be described as Yelp reviews for Cat Island in Japan. And this one's worth reading. He gives Cat Island 2 out of 5 stars. His name's ABD. The positives: there are lots of lovely cats. The negatives: Many of the cats appear to be sick. In addition to wounds from fighting, there are numerous cats with eye, respiratory, and other issues with redness, crusty eyes, or too wet eyes, and runny noses. And I have seen several really bad cases of what appears to be scabies. I hope cats can get medical attention they desperately need. Also, there seem to be very few water dishes. Hot weather coming, people planning to visit the island, please bring some water dishes and water for the cats, not only food. I wish I knew the situation before I went. Cats need water, especially if they are fed dry food. Also, many of the cats seem not to like the dry food. It's supposed to be a stupid tourist trap, you idiot. What do you expect? It's an island filled with wild cats. They're all on their own. Unless the tourists bring water and some of that wet food. And some of the sick ones are unable to eat it. One of the cats was drooling a lot. Not sure if it was from a dental problem or other reasons. I wish I knew before I went to bring more wet food. As it is, I brought some, but not enough. And I brought a lot of dry food. Because it was easier to carry, but clearly not preferred by the cats. There are significant weight differences among cats. Braver and more aggressive ones are very fat, while the thin and timid ones are afraid to approach the food when there are more dominant cats around. It is hard to ensure that everyone gets enough, since some clearly don't get enough food while others are overweight. Practical issues. The ferry runs twice a day only. There's a toilet in the waiting room. There's indeed no food or drinks to purchase on the island at all. All in all, not most convenient, but expected from the comments. My low rating is mainly because of sick cats, which do not seem to have received adequate medical attention. Unless something is done soon, situation will only get worse. So that's his review on Cat Island. What's great about the Yelp reviews on Cat Island, literally the next review, just shows you there's two different people in this world, kind of like Democrats and Republicans. The next one is from Channel Armenta. 5 stars for Cat Island. The place is amazing. There's also a unicorn island. The one person notices everything, the sick cats and blah, blah, blah. The other one just says the place is amazing. My mom told me there's also a unicorn island. This person's excited to check out Unicorn Island. All right, there you go. Some info on Cat Island. I think they did a documentary on this place as well. It's pretty cool. And then, like I said, it turns out there's a couple different islands that are inhabited by a lot of cats. That does it for this episode, but the last episode of the year, we will continue from Gebhards. It's really, really good. I'm in the middle of editing it as I speak right now. So, all right, guys, we'll talk soon.
Boo, 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 boo.
Opie Radio.
Boo, 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 boo. Boom, boom, boom. Boo 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 boo. Boo 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 boo. Boo boo. Boo boo. Boo boo. Boo boo. Boo boo.